What's going on, people? Welcome to the real estate game.
All right, so
I'll start off, I guess. My name is Carmelo Oliveri. Mel.
I'm Joey Chan. Welcome to the show.
I'm Ricky Kolek with Latin Realty.
How's it going, guys? I'm Johnathan Boyle. And where's your headset, Joey?
Joe has my headset.
Unbelievable.
Let me go get it.
Joey, you messed up the program.
It's okay. This is the first of many, so this is going to be all fucked up.
That's all right. We'll get the hang of this.
Yeah.
So what's going on, guys? Well, I'll give you a little background about myself. I'm a real estate investor, 20-something years. Own just under 500 doors currently across the United States. And my primary focus is low-income housing. So that's what I focus on. I love my Section 8. Section 8's never late, that's what I say. So worked out great. So I'm also a licensed real estate broker in the state of New Jersey. And I also own a construction company in the state of New Jersey. So
Yeah, like what else don't you own?
try to own everything at once. My forte is building teams, so it makes it very easy to operate. So
Nice. What do I do, Ricky? What do you do?
I'm a full-time real estate agent, been for the past 8 years, solo for the past 3 years, been on and off teams otherwise then, but contribution, still going strong.
how you see the market nowadays?
Market is still crazy, crazier than when COVID even hit. Prices are higher, interest rates are higher, but people are still buying and selling.
And what do you think that's the cause of that?
What do I think is positive of that? People are still going to either upsize or downsize, depending on what it is. Interest rate wise, though, that's why we have the low inventory currently. People are locked in at a 2.25 or a 2.75 refi. So you're gonna hold that till the end.
Yeah, I just think, like we were talking earlier, is that, people becoming accidental landlords
Exactly.
because their mortgage payment's so low. Their rents and demand has gotten so high, they're like, hey, I'm not gonna sell this, pay taxes or whatever, let me just rent it out. Keep it, keeps the inventory low, and, it's just driving up the market. So it's, I've never seen it like this before. I thought, everybody knows me, I'm a doomsday guy. I'm like, can't wait for this shit to crash. Until it fucking starts swarming like a beehive and buying up deals. But every time I turn around, I'm getting fucking hosed for another $100 grand. That shit.
And I just remember Carmelo every month for the last 5 years at least,
15 years.
15 years, do say market's gonna crash this year. And one day you'll be right.
One day I'll be right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you are kind of right now, right?
I hope so. I was like, this is crazy, man. But I just think the whole COVID thing will happen, and I was watching the markets before COVID.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the bond market, and I'm like, this shit's gonna fucking implode like 1994. And then all of a sudden you have COVID happen, and they just printed trillions and trillions of dollars, and you're like, okay, well, I guess that was the bailout. This was like the last crash we had. Unfortunately, crashed first, then they started bailing people on printing money.
Exactly.
This time they figured it out before it crashed, and now we're stuck in this predicament. So I think the new, I guess you call it new norm, it could be the new norm you want to call it, or the recession is the inflation, because who's really getting hosed during this recession? The middle class.
Yeah, all the actual taxpayers, right? Because the low
I don't
level.
know what's wrong with your mic, Joey, but I gotta hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, way better.
Okay.
Maybe you just gotta up your voice, I don't know.
Yeah. So the
Okay,
low.
so Asian, will you?
So the low, how do I say, without insulting a lot of people?
Not worried about it.
No one cares.
Yeah. So the low income people, they don't pay. Well, they don't pay shit in taxes, first of all, so they don't pay, right? They're just looking for the next handout.
Neither do the rich.
Right. The rich don't care because they don't pay taxes either. Because they're smart. They hire the right attorneys, the right accountants, and they avoid all that stuff. They buy real estate. So, now who gets holding the bag? The middle class people.
Yeah. And they're the same ones that got hosed in the last recession. So now it's just it's strategically planned, I think, and it's being executed right now. My brother's in the luxury car market, and they came out with like, I think a $700,000 Rolls Royce. Within a week, it was, all the contracts were sold. I was like, who the hell is buying these cars? But, you know, they're rich getting richer, man. That's what happens during inflation, so.
Somebody's buying.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he told me last time I was over at his house, he was like, hey, why don't you buy a Lamborghini or a Ferrari? I was like, dude, you paying for it or what?
Yeah, we bought a few, so it's worked out pretty well for us.
Yeah.
So,
No, but yeah, he told me, hey, buy it, drive it for a year, you'll sell it, and it'll be for the same price.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I bought a few cars and I haven't lost money on any of my exotic cars. So, and that was from 2009
Right.
till now, so it actually works out pretty well with those cars. But yeah, I think that's what the
So
market's
they hold their value pretty well.
Yeah, I think I lost more on my Hyundai.
You don't drive no Hyundai.
Yeah, my brother does. They get the leftover cars. You get a house and a car and you get the leftover cars, man, that's it.
Yeah, that just reminds me, you just mentioned it, like, that's something that you want to do for your children and whatnot. You're looking to just give them a house and a car and that's it.
That's it, yeah, at the end of the day, you can, the way I look at it, right, and, you know, I'm first generation Italian, so my parents came over to like, I watched them hustle and grind and, you know, everything, 2 jobs sometimes, and I'm like, shit, so I learned how to hustle, right, and that's what I learned. But my kids, they don't see that grind with me, you know what I mean, to me, they see me investing, right, I'm home 90% of the time. I'm not going out at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Like daddy doesn't even work.
Yeah, exactly. Daddy doesn't work. My neighbors call like, what's this guy do?
Like, daddy's a lazy piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. So my job is I got to teach them to invest, right? Because they're not gonna have a single clue how to grind. So to me, it's like, all right, now my job is they got to learn how to invest the money I leave them, or whatever the case may be. So to me, it's like you go to college, do what you have to do. Here's a 4-family house. I'm gonna buy it for you, cash out, refinance, recoup my investment. You're gonna live in one apartment, you're gonna collect the rents and learn how to manage real estate, you know? And here's your mother's car that she's been driving for 10, 15 years. And here's my car, we've been driving for 10, 15 years. It's got no payment, that's what you're gonna take over. And then after that, you're on your own, you know what I mean? Because like I've been a Section 8 landlord for 20-something years. I've seen very wealthy kids, and I've seen kids growing up on Section 8, right? And psychologically, they're the same person. They're both enabled kids that have no clue how to do anything for themselves, right? If I take a kid in Section 8, has no clue how to do anything. If I take a rich, spoiled kid, has no clue how to do anything. They're just enabled little brats. So, you know, that's not what I'm trying to raise. At least I try not to. I'm trying to help you guys out for your kids and a bunch of degenerates for citizens later on in the future.
No, so that kind of goes back to when I was talking about the rich people and the low income people.
Mhm.
It's kind of the same thing, right? When you talk about the kids, you know, so it's.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's the way, you know, they're raised and the way they operate and, you know, just, you know, upbringing and values and morals, you know, so.
Yeah, and the parents get screwed.
Yeah, well, isn't there like an Asian saying, the first generation builds it,
Yeah.
the second generation grows it, the third generation fucks it all up?
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to get that third generation to fuck it up.
You gotta live long enough to see that third generation not fucking up.
Yeah, exactly. So I hit the gym and, you know, every day now and eat healthy and all that good stuff, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta show your kid what to do,
Mhm.
you know, and how you make the money, how you grind, how you hustle.
Yeah.
You know, so.
It's like a rinse and repeat method.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
setting your kids up for success at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you have to do, right? So at the end of the day, and you know, they're a mentor, and they look up. Well, hopefully, they really don't technically and psychologically they don't look up to their parents. They always look up to their friends. So that's another important thing you really need to keep an eye on as a parent is like who are they hanging out with? 'Cause I tell my kids all the time, you're hanging out with 5 idiots, you're number 6, motherfucker. You're hanging out with 5 rich kids, you're number 6. So that's, you know, you gotta learn that. And then again, who their parents, those kids' parents are. You know, Jonathan's good, he's got no kids, so he can go, yeah, fuck this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we still have no kids.
Oh,
We got
we
kids.
got kids on one side of the table.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
About
exactly.
the-
Well, that's, you know, the gist of it, you know, investing wise and trying to pass that along and hopefully they pick it up and whatnot. not. You gotta do what you wanna do in life and call it a day, you know? But I think that's where the market's headed. I think, like I said, this is the new norm for the market, I hope. I think, if you look at the retail space, the office space is gonna be decimated. It's dead. And you could probably read my posts from 15 years ago. I used to put brick and mortars over virtuals, virtuals were the businesses. And same thing, you just saw it happen, it just expedited the whole process with the office space. Zoom's been around for years. They've never implemented it, so people really had to adapt to the new changes. So I think the office space is either, it's done.
Well, that's kind of why, I have a lot of friends that are tech people in the city, and they've been slowly enforcing oh, you gotta come to the office at least once a week.
Oh, really?
Once a week, yeah.
Yeah.
They're slowly increasing that number back.
Yeah.
Even if they say that they don't want to, but they've seen mathematically that people working together in teams at the office it helps the company a lot more
Really?
than
Okay.
If you're working from home, because work from home, I've had plenty of friends, and I guess the thing is a lot of them are degenerates.
Yeah.
But they're basically 6-figure children. And
You're the sixth degenerate?
No, but I've slowly been teaching them, or trying to teach them, hey, you should invest in real estate, you should start doing this. And now they're slowly asking me questions and whatnot. But the whole point was that they will literally go out on a random Wednesday night and then come and then go to work, work from home on a Thursday, and they'll do the bare minimum that they need to do, or because they have set assignments. Obviously I'm not a tech guy, so I don't know how that works exactly, but they have set deadlines for things. So they'll work their ass off, let's say Wednesday night up until they go out, and then then that Thursday, now that they did 80% of it, they're just working that 20%, and it looks like they did great.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Work's done, right?
Yeah, work's
Who
done.
cares?
But that's my whole point,
Yeah.
because COVID kind of helped set that bar so low, with how much needs to be done.
Yeah.
They're trying to keep that bar low, but the companies are trying to raise the bar back up. So hey, you gotta do more, you gotta do more, you gotta do more, and So the office is my whole point. The office is, there's a lot of pushback from people, but companies may slowly, if the government gets involved and helps with tax incentives for people having offices and everything, which I'm sure eventually they might do that,
Probably, yeah.
then it might help it. But at the same time, I do agree that technology is making it more and more difficult for that.
Yeah, I just, even if, I have employees, and I'm never getting 100% out of that anyway. You know what I mean? So if I get 75, I'm happy as a pig of shit. So it's yeah, man, the same thing as working from home. At least, give them the tasks. That's what you need your employee to do, get it done. I think my brother-in-law said he works for a company, and I think the guy was paying $120,000 a month to have an office in Manhattan. I'm like, that's huge savings, but I just don't see this. To me, it makes no sense to have an office space.
That's what I was gonna bring up. It all comes down to if it's more cost effective to have it, but it's not.
Yeah.
So a bunch of my friends, and they're all doing half and half now, their companies.
Okay.
So they're half in and half out.
What line of work are your friends in?
Accounting, of them. So they're all doing that, or banking.
Yeah.
So banking, I'm noticing they're giving them 1 day off per week, to work at home, and then the accounting, it seems like they're giving them off 2 to 3.
It's like a hybrid.
Exactly.
Heck, even attorneys are doing that now as well, in New York City. I have a couple of friends that are attorneys in bigger law firms, and I remember one of them. She was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna go to work this morning. It just depends how I feel, But yeah, I like to show up 2 times a week, type of thing."
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. To me, it's I had my first online business in 1998, and back then it was nobody even used internet, and then I started the first virtual real estate brokerage in New Jersey in 2009, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is e-sign?" So I was ahead of the game, I guess, and I think even today, I think
It's not.
code, yeah, it's nothing. It's like this stuff has been around for decades and nobody just implemented it, you know what I mean? So, yeah, to me, it's like, I just think that office space is gonna be a huge hit with the banks, you know, and then on top of that, you're gonna start seeing a lot of the commercial mortgages reset. You know, those people that bought a 100-unit apartment complex at 2.9%, it's like, oh, our exit's gonna be 5.5, no, it ain't, motherfucker. You're only gonna be at 7, and that screws all your numbers. But hopefully they raise their rents and manage it properly to execute, you know, the exit strategy. Because that's the only way it's gonna work well for those guys, but I don't know, we'll see. It's gonna be a fun few years to watch.
But yeah, I mean, like we're starting to see that with certain larger apartment complexes where they have bought, you know, like they bought, or they were originally buying, expecting it to be at this interest rate when they sell, but now, like, obviously it's at like 5.56, whatever you want to call it, the number, and they originally had it at like a 3% interest, and it's, okay, they're getting fucked left and right.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, there's this guy named, what the hell was his last name? Jay Dejavali or something like that. He had 7,000 units. 7,000 units out of Houston, Texas, for the most part. Houston, San Antonio, and a couple other Texas cities. And he got foreclosed on a bunch of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and
that's crazy.
But the crazy thing is that he didn't really do anything illegal. That's the crazy thing. It's
not illegal.
It's just that he didn't really execute his business plan, you know, and that's where he kind of got caught with the interest rate going up, and then the bank basically saying, hey, the mayor of Houston got involved, and basically he had to kind of give up his property.
Wow.
You know? They
That's
got foreclosed on from his bank. I believe it was Arbor.
Okay.
That was his bank.
Something else to note is that none of these investors got paid.
Yeah. So all his investors lost, like all his LP investors, they lost whatever money they put in.
That's insane.
So everybody lost. The only person that won, well, they didn't even win either, was the bank, because they were able to take that asset back and then sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
That sucks.
Yeah, I think you're gonna see a lot of that happening, especially with the heavy value add deals that weren't properly operated or managed properly, you know, so, but.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out.
That's kind of why now, like, if you're investing in like real estate as a limited partner, then you definitely need to like pre-vet the general partners and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, you know, like, for example, the guy with 7,000 apartments, if he raised the rents, it should have easily made up for the interest rates. So I just wonder if.
Well, no, so I heard, well, you know, I haven't seen, like, I haven't read it in full detail, but he was just very neglectful with like a lot of the maintenance, CapEx.
Oh, really?
Maintenance,
Okay.
like even just like monthly maintenance, and then the amount of tenants moving in and whatnot, it dropped from, I think it was like 90% to like 50 or something.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like it was
serious
mismanagement. Yeah, it was the complete mismanagement with the wrong property management, wrong everything.
Wow, that's insane.
So it was like everything bad that could have happened all happened at the same time.
But how do you get to 7,000 apartments and then have that skill level
I
to
mean,
manage properly? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
well, I mean, some people are just good at speaking to people. Like they're extremely good at it.
And I learned one thing in this business: people talk the most, full of shit. Yeah, so it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to have 7,000 apartments and mismanage, and then, you know, raise that kind of capital from investors, and then just goes from 90% occupied to 50.
Yeah.
Something, I don't know, maybe something's going on behind the scenes, but like buy it back in the bank, 50 cents on the dollar or something.
But you also gotta remember, yeah, maybe, but you also gotta remember though that, you know, 7,000 apartments sounds impressive, but like, I mean, it is to an extent, but you know, if you're like 0.5% owner, a good portion of it, then you're, I mean, it's still impressive, don't get me wrong, but it's still way less impressive than saying, you know, you own 7,000 units.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know.
No, because like I remember, like, you know, I'm talking to people and I'm like, yeah, I'm a co-GP in like a little over 600 units in Dallas, and people are really impressed. And I'm like, it's really not that impressive.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah, like $10
if you really break it down, like.
Yeah, like a $10 check at the end of the month.
You said something.
Thanks.
It's like 15, okay?
But it's like, oh, it cost me $500 to get 5 years to get that money back, you know? Yeah, to me, it's, you know, it's, again, going with old school, it's like you'd rather just own the majority of it, or whatever the case may be. Even like we did our first syndication, and, you know, our own money we put in is well close to $1 million between me and my two partners, you know, so it's like we maybe raised maybe an extra $300,000-400,000 here and there, which we have in the bank. If the shit ever hits the fan, just pay everybody back. But never want to overextend. You know, 7,000 units has got to probably millions and millions of dollars, and people trusted him, and, you know, unfortunately went to shit. But yeah, it happens, and unfortunately, I think you're gonna see more of it happen. You know, you see a lot of newbie investors that came in. I've listened to podcasts. You know, I drive between here in Indiana and St. Louis. I just listen to podcasts. Oh, I got 12 apartments. I did my first syndication.
I mean,
You don't even know about managing anything with 12 apartments.
I mean, heck, I think it's not even just, what do you call it, investors being over leveraged and whatnot. It's just people in general, like, heck, even the banks were, like, if you look at what, Silicon Valley Bank? Silicon Valley Bank, going belly up, First Republic, going belly up,
Signature.
Signature too?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I stopped looking after it was like the second bank. I was like,
Yeah,
Jesus.
I think
They just-
Signature was the second thing.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, it's just like then it's just the government doing too much all at the same time, kind of like just negatively affecting everyone.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think the key word there is over leverage, right? I think that goes for anybody.
Yeah.
In your personal finances, in your businesses, in your banking. You know, I mean, if anybody over leverages anything, you're fucking hosed no matter what happens. And I think I preached that for the past 25 years. It's like, don't over leverage yourself, because that's the kiss of death. You know, I see people, oh, I took out a line of credit on my house. What are you doing with it? I don't know. What are you talking about? You don't know. If you don't invest it and you're paying 6% and you're not making minimum 7-8% return on your money, and you're done.
I'm gonna buy a couple of new TVs.
Yeah. And I bought a new car, I paid my credit cards off, I did this, I'm like, no. You know what I mean? So, but again, that's the key word, is over leverage for anything, you know, so. And you're still young, so you gotta learn.
I think that's especially prevalent in the housing market currently.
Yeah.
Especially with the interest rates. That's what I've been going with all of my clients. Just don't overextend yourself.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are though, honestly. I think because the price of the homes itself, right? And not only that, so if you're buying, let's say, like a $500,000 house, right? It's really like a $250,000 house in my opinion, right? It's a little Cape Cod or a piece of shit.
Joe, can you close that? I just keep hearing it from the word. No, it's fine, right? Beat that word down.
So it's the Twitter. It's the Twitter bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elon.
Yeah, he's got the black shirt, so he just, I don't know. He reminds me of Elon when he's
A little bit less money in the account.
yeah, a few zeros less. So going back to the houses, right? So, you know, years ago you were able to buy like a little Cape Cod or whatever, like $150,000, $200,000. Now you're talking like $500,000 for this little piece of shit Cape Cod. And now the interest rate has gone up so much that you're paying, like Mel was saying earlier before we started the show, you're paying more to buy a house than to basically rent, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been really the opposite. You know? Yeah, so it's insane the way it is now.
Have you seen with, you know, sales and stuff, you know, obviously going over asking price 50, 100,000, with any appraisal issues coming back, or, you know, the guy might have been approved for 500,000 and he bid 600,000, he's not getting approved for the mortgage?
No, so for the most part, everything
Banks
is
still cutting
still,
checks.
no, they're still cutting checks. Everything still is appraising in the past 4 years. Pretty much with everything, I've only ever had one house under appraised.
Wow.
And those are appraised by about 45.
No, we got fucked by one so far in East Orange.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like under appraised, what was it? 30,000-40,000.
Yeah, so we had the house under contract for 405, it appraised at 350.
Cool. Did you dispute it?
No, we did,
Really?
yeah.
You can get a second appraisal?
Well, it was FHA. It was FHA.
But even if you disputed the second appraisal, like what are they? They're not gonna go up 55,000.
Yeah, I mean, what do they do? Average it out, right? So let's say the second appraisal comes in 370, you're at 360.
Yeah.
Well, they can lock it.
Huh?
They can lock
Well, actually, you're a loan officer, you know better.
they can lock it for 6 months and you're screwed.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what happens. to us.
FHA?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
FHA locked it for us.
The lender would literally, sorry, go ahead, Jay.
No, go ahead. No,
The lender would literally
FHA
go
locked
in.
us. You go, sorry.
The lender would literally go in the system, just lock it into the HUD system, and that's it. That's the appraisal for the next 6 months.
That's nuts, man. That's ridiculous.
Maybe get a rent back lease or something like that.
What's that?
Get a rent back lease or something like that.
Yeah, seriously.
Give me another 7 months, we'll come back with another number.
Because I remember, I did one of them with Clark, and it was an FHA buyer, and we disputed it, and they came up a little bit, not much. You know, they're actually the first appraisal that came out. But that's why I was asking if you disputed it, or usually what I do, if I'm flipping a house, I take the comps with me, and I meet the appraisers, like, you know, this is where we're at, and these are the comps. So if it's something.
Yeah, no, our what do you call it? Our agent did do that.
Oh, really?
It's just that, like, the comps weren't exactly there, but the thing is that it was the only thing on the market at the time as well.
Okay, got it. So you're like at the peak of at the cusp of the.
Yeah, like I would have argued that, yeah, maybe 375, 380 would have been good, but like, yeah, now they were like, go fuck yourself, 350.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, because it was an attached home.
Okay.
So
Yeah, they were
more or less,
Because we don't, there isn't that many attached homes in this orange.
Yeah.
yeah.
That are
Still made
selling.
out profit?
We're still selling it,
We're under contract with a new buyer, 357.5.
Okay, cool.
So,
they were willing to go up
yeah, that's all.
that much.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I think that was just the one outlier that kind of got us like really excited, like, oh shit, well, fine, all right, look at
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
So they kind of tricked us, and then at the end, they were like, no, we're gonna just, no, there's a lot of construction that still needs to be done here and there. So, you know, we just did a lipstick on it, so it was.
Like the buyer was originally like, oh, don't worry about anything, we're gonna, we'll take care of ourselves, but then inspection report comes back, oh, we want everything on the list.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, what the fuck, I fucking hate people.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I'm noticing more and more now, so they're going over like by 100,000.
To want everything done.
But they want everything done, and they'll say that they don't in internal review,
Yeah, of course.
and then all of a sudden they'll switch.
That was,
They,
I used to be a home inspector.
not me,
They were-
typically, I don't have that happen.
Well, that's, well, how long you been a realtor?
8 years.
Oh, 8 years, okay, all right, so.
You're about to say like, well, you're gonna see.
Yeah.
He hasn't seen the downturn yet.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so you've seen it.
Those are the fun times.
Yeah.
That's when I thrive. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, man, we kill it. Yeah, it's crazy to see that, and I'm surprised even the banks come back with, somebody's approved for 500 and bid 6. And the bank's like, yeah, you're approved for 6 now, have a good time. That makes a difference. You're paying me.
So for the most part, with like buyers on my end, I'll typically say like, what's your maximum?
Yeah.
I don't want to hit it,
Of
obviously.
course.
But if they can go up that high, I'll say, well, this house will appraise for this.
Okay.
The one that under appraised by 40K, I said it was going to under appraise.
Yeah.
They just chose to do it. They didn't care.
Yeah.
So you get clients like that now that don't care if they have to eat 40,000.
Really?
Which
Really?
I find crazy.
So they brought 40,000 extra to the table?
Exactly.
That's insane.
Wow.
To me, it's just stupid.
Yeah, seriously.
And I say you're never going to see it again,
Mhm.
but they don't seem to care.
Yeah.
I think people judge it on if it's their forever home or not.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to stay there for 20, 30 years,
Yeah.
I'm not going to care.
I remember I did sales back in the day, and I always try to, being an ex-teacher, I always want to educate people, educate them. And then I just learned, the less I say, the better it is. And I'm like, the more you talk, they're like, you know what, I'm going somewhere else. So it's like, you know what, you love the house, you want to bring an extra 40,000 to the table, go ahead, have a fun time, what am I going to tell you?
No, he doesn't say much, he just posts articles on Facebook, like 20 times a day.
That's it, yeah, I got nothing else to do.
There's absolutely no context.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a one-word answer
Yeah.
next to it.
yeah, when you text him, he's like, everything's abbreviated.
Great job. Bye-bye.
GR8,
Yeah, GRA.
Yeah.
JD, not even O.
Joey's like, I need a contact for this. Here you go. Here's a contact. Hello, how you doing? Have a good day. Just leave me alone. Yeah, but that's, I just can't fathom what's gonna happen in the next few months or years until,
I
because
don't
last
think
time.
much gonna happen come like the end of 2023.
Yeah.
We're still not gonna get an inventory influx,
Yeah.
obviously. That's not gonna happen. Interest rates, they're saying are gonna go down to like a 5.2, maybe.
What are they at right now? 6?
6.5 as of this morning, 6.5 for FHA.
All right, cool. That's still not too bad. That's normal. Because, 2 is fucking ridiculous.
Goes back to the 2 percenters though, where they're just like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It goes back to.
Yeah, I locked mine in at 3.75 now. I love it.
I was gonna refinance about 2 years ago. I was gonna refinance my house, put an addition on and everything, and I took too long because I had a lot of accounting that I didn't do yet. So they were like, "Oh, we need your tax returns." I was like, "Oh crap." I haven't done. I mean, I've done my tax returns, but that year I didn't do it yet, and I got like 15 LLCs or 20, whatever it is. And I'm like, holy shit, it's gonna take forever. So, so I did do one of them. I sent it to Navy Federal. They gave me a decent rate, but I was like, hey, can I get a little more money? Because, I need a few bucks more to put that addition that my wife wants,
Man, don't listen to them.
I know.
Well, I get flack for that one.
Yeah, that's why I'm single now.
So I didn't do it, right? So I called up another mortgage guy, and they were like, no, I need all this paperwork. So I was like, fine, okay. So I was kind of shopping around, and I took too long, and then all of a sudden, rates started going up. So I'm like, oh shit, I missed my chance.
That's kind of what happened with a lot of our rentals as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same exact thing happened.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing actually the past 18 months. I only bought 120 doors, I think.
Only.
I know. Such a modest amount.
And I'm just focusing on raising the rents. It's like this guy's paying, $1,200 for a 3-bedroom.
Yeah,
Time for
no,
you to go, get $1,800 and that's cash out refinance.
it's funny. We just accepted this person in Atlantic City for 1 bedroom. And
How much?
Okay, well, it was fully renovated bedroom. So we were originally thinking 14.
Wow.
And then the agent was like, oh, it was tough, but we found someone on assistance for 1,300 plus. I was like, oh, that's good. And then I'm reading all his voucher shit, and it's $1,382. I'm like, oh, how terrible! I'm losing $18.
Oh, boy.
So, no, the way it was worded to us, this is the best I can do. I'm so sorry, type of thing.
Hell
And
no,
I'm just
I'll
like,
take that all day.
Yeah, yeah, I was like-
1 bedroom Atlantic City?
Yeah, 1 bedroom Atlantic City.
I start buying blocks over there.
Yeah, but yeah, that's fully renovated.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and I'm just hoping for all our other units like that
Yeah,
to
seriously.
rent for $1,382.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a goal. I think, as an investor, right, and it goes back to the guy with the 7,000, losing it, is operations. That's the most important. Logistics and operating it properly, because if you're sitting on, 7,000 units and, 3,000 are below market rent, what are you doing wrong? Get a team to start raising those rents.
Oh no, so this is the thing though too, Atlantic City is one of those markets that the housing isn't renovated at almost ever. It's literally gonna pay continuously.
Yeah.
We're the only crazy motherfuckers that decided to actually do renovations to these units. So a lot of these programs haven't caught up with it that. It should probably be at least $1,500
Yeah.
for a 1 bedroom, especially because of all this inflation and shit.
Yeah.
So now we're hoping that it's slowly catching up and we get the good end of it.
Yeah, also you have to keep in mind as an investor too, is you're in a market like that, what dictates them, they're controlling the market, right? Section 8 or wherever.
Yeah.
You don't want to over improve and spend too much money either. You know what I mean? So it's okay, maybe the kitchen cabinets are solid wood, instead of replacing them, paint them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or instead of a tile backsplash, you do a stick backsplash, from the dollar store. Little stuff like that makes a difference to, when people just look at it. Obviously you don't want to have carpet because that just brings bugs and stuff. So I always do vinyl, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you got to think as an investor, you want to over improve something because, again, it's not much of a difference anyway. So
Yeah, I think it's, at least for Atlantic City and, Atlantic County, it's now just starting to come back as like, we should increase these rates for Section 8 and all that. So,
yes, I know Newark Housing Authority, the DCA here in New Jersey. I don't know if they have DCA down there too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
If you check their Section 8 guidelines compared to Atlantic County, they're probably higher.
Yeah. I think you were the first person to tell me that.
Yeah.
Like, just for anyone here listening, all Section 8s are not created equal.
No, exactly.
Like, the city one is not as good as the county one, the county one's not as good as the state one, so.
Yeah, there's all different programs, and hey, listen, you ask the tenant, like, what program are you in? DCA, Housing Authority, county, and then you can kind of determine where you can, ask for a few extra dollars, to, say, listen, you got 20 units, an extra $150 a month. That's what, $3,000?
Yeah.
That's a Ferrari payment, see?
Still trying to
It's not rocket science,
Still
yeah.
trying to get us to get Ferrari.
Which part did you drive over today?
Better.
No, it says. No, it says.
But yeah, like I said, right now it's just a matter of, the past few months is just increasing the rents, refinancing, and we cash out, $500,000, $1 million for the year. And at least, even if we raise the rents and the extra debt service for the $1 million might cost me $6,000 a month, we've done that in raising the rents, you know what I mean? So that's what you want to do as an investor.
That also reminds me, another thing, is at least in certain areas, it's been very, at least for us, it's been difficult to find the good tenant quality. Because now that rents are increasing, fairly dramatically, obviously, this is market rate at this point now, let's say. But now you're getting tenants that, a lot of tenants that are like, this is $1,800 a month, I make $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
Can I live here? And it's like, well,
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to, even in the very, very lenient, 2.5 times rent type of thing, that's still a no.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta find the quality tenants throughout all the riffraff. I know, at least in my Patterson one, maybe about a year ago, it took 2.5, 3 months before we found a good quality tenant.
Yeah.
And now they paid on the 29th last month.
Yeah.
So it was great.
I mean, that's the most important thing is the landlord is screening them, verifying their information, and you learn, a lot of people learn the hard way, unfortunately. You can sit there and give them a checklist of what to do, and they still I just want the apartment rented out, and then next thing you know, you have a headache on your hands. So yeah, screening is very important when it comes to tenants. So, but you were saying earlier that, you're getting over bids on rents.
Yeah, they're bidding more on rentals now too. That's coming in, and it's just nuts to me because you're not getting anything for it. It's an apartment.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh,
What market again?
Essex County. So I work Essex County, Passaic County, Morris County, Bergen County, a little bit of Union County.
Okay. And most of the bidding rentals, what towns do you see those in,
Caldwell, Little Falls, those types of towns.
Wow, that's great. And I'm surprised they're building apartments all over the place.
Yeah, no, we had a 3-bed, 1-bath in Belleville that we originally listed it for rent for $2,400, and then you remember we got 2 different really good, highly qualified tenants. They're both easily making over 6 figures, the families and whatnot. I think one of them even made $200,000.
Wow.
And then we're talking to them, and they both want the apartment. And then one of them, I think, offered $2,600, and so then the other one, just to, we shot our shot, hey, it's yours if you rent it for 28.
Yeah.
And they said yes.
Oh, yeah.
And luckily they were the more qualified tenants. So
10 of those, $2,000 a month more.
Still trying to get us to get
Yeah, I I mean, they paid like on the 28th,
Yeah,
Every
oh, no, they paid the 26th.
26th this month.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the bank account like, oh shit, they didn't pay, and then I looked, oh wait, no, they did.
They got already paid.
Yes, that's the good thing about, the cash flow.
Yeah.
You live the lifestyle you wanna live, that's the way you look at it, so.
No, but you do have to be real careful on screening the tenants. I definitely recommend everybody screen your freaking tenants. Be patient, even if it takes an extra month or two to get the right people in. Because if you have the wrong people in, forget it. Man, like our Atlantic City property, we took it over from basically a slumlord, right? And this guy,
Literally, the town did not fucking like him.
Really?
Yeah.
We had to like, pretty much kiss the town's ass every step of the way, saying, hey, we're not the same person. We promise we're actually doing things to make this place better.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, continue.
no. Yeah, so we had one tenant that literally paid the entire time. And then there's
One tenant out of 11?
Yeah.
Holy shit, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
What?
and then so what we did was we converted three of the apartments that we renovated 3 apartments initially. We turned them into Airbnb. So now at least we get some money coming in, right, instead of one. And the rest now, so finally yesterday, we finally got the last person out.
Wow. You guys own that long?
Well, the last two.
The last 2, yeah.
Yeah, because they had both lockouts the same day.
How long you guys own that place? A few years, about a few months, right?
About a year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
yeah.
Yeah. So it could be really, really painful and very, very costly.
Yeah.
When you come in. At the beginning, a lot of them did pay. But then after like 3rd or 4th month, everybody started dropping off.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
that was fun.
and that was what, during COVID? No, right? It was after
Yeah,
COVID.
well, it was kind of the tail end.
Yeah,
of
it was
COVID.
like the tail end of COVID, where there's still the backlog, so.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but Atlantic City's a piece of shit when it comes to their court system with their filings, with everything.
Is it a county? It's Atlantic County?
No, it's actual city.
It's
Oh,
like,
it's
it's
just
city.
you go to reach the Atlantic City Court?
Yeah, like I actually had to go to court one of the days, and I'm like, I can ask them, I'm like, I live in fucking New York, like, do I really have to go there? And they're like, yeah, I was talking to my attorney, they're like, yeah, you have to go, or one of us have to go, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll bite the bullet, I'll drive all the way over there. Just for them to, like, for the tenant to not be ready, and because, like, diehard fucking blue, fucking, not going into politics, but diehard blue,
City.
like, blue city,
Yeah.
like, the judge was like, oh, we really need to talk to, this person for expert advice.
Yeah, the judge, what do you think for them? So you know.
Well, because he was on a government assistance program and they stopped paying.
Okay.
So they were like, oh, we need to talk to the government,
DCA?
yeah,
Okay.
and then the next time they didn't show up again.
Yeah, they never show up.
Yeah,
So housing never shows up for any of those things.
so then lo and behold, he got kicked out.
Yeah.
Because of, and it's like, well, you just added a fucking a month to us, of him not paying because he wanted to be nice. And then not only that, then the sheriff like took another month because it was supposed to be, after you get the filing or whatever, then, you could.
Warrant the removal.
Yeah, the warrant removal, and then you call the sheriff, and then the sheriff's like, oh, I don't have anything until like 3 weeks from now.
Oh, boy.
And then 3 weeks from now comes, and then he doesn't show up. So then it's like another week after that.
Yeah.
Like it was a fucking shit show. Like literally everything that could go wrong, it went wrong in that.
What's the thing, like, you guys are already experienced investors, but you go to another city, another county, it's a whole new experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a totally new experience. So that's why when you do your due diligence, like I buy stuff out of state. So what I do is the first thing I do is like, I'm looking at this property, I want to talk to a real estate attorney. What's the real estate laws? Because if I'm gonna have a tenant sitting here for 10 months, because it favors the tenants, I'm like, maybe it's not worth the investment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you always want to find out what the laws are in different states, different counties, At least you get an idea of what you're getting yourself into, so.
Yeah, we kind of learned that from
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, exactly. Even like Kate had properties in Wildwood and had tenant down there that wasn't paying. He followed Richard on Monday and Friday had a court date. They're like, yo, it's the best fucking county. I'm like, fuck yeah. I was like, I wish it was like this everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all evaluation case to case, but you gotta learn as an investor, different things. And sometimes you learn the hard way and sometimes you learn the easy way. So, yeah.
Most times the hard way. We try to do it the hard way.
Clearly, we just like violence and pain.
Yeah.
It's like, let me see which way I can lose the most amount of money. Yeah, that's the way I want to learn.
Yeah, that's what we always choose.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's,
Well, I
it's
mean,
a learning
hey,
experience.
with my women, apparently, one of my best friends says what my type is
Crazy.
toxic.
Yeah.
So
Maybe have your friends pick your next one for you. They might know you better than you know yourself.
Yeah. Arranged marriages.
Yeah. And the best one, I was watching thing on Netflix. What's it called? Indian Matchmaker.
Oh, I haven't watched that.
Oh, you haven't watched it? Oh, dude, I was cracking up because it's funny because every Indian I know is like, oh, you must get 100% in mathematics and science. The parents, the parents tell the kid, you gotta do great, mate. Then you watch the show, it's like, you find a husband. If it's 50% the way you're looking for, it's okay. I was starting cracking up. I was cracking up. I'm like, oh my God. You get all straight A's, but you find a husband 50-60% is okay. Okay. I was cracking up.
But as long as you're a doctor or
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh my God, it's so funny to watch. This is great.
at least you make 6 figures and son-in-law.
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna put a tiny matchmaker show. I'm gonna watch that show. People with the Jersey Shore, you'll be all right. Yeah, man. So, sounds good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Anything else?
I don't know. What do you guys?
What else you got on there? How long we got on here?
10, 12 minutes.
12 minutes left? Oh, all right. Sounds like fun, man. Perfect.
Well, we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Learning all new things here. So.
Yeah.
So have you seen a downturn in any of the markets that you invest in?
A downturn in any of the market. Well, I've been in the business 20-something years now. So I've seen some downturns. 06, 07 was 07, 08 was a big downturn. And again, it wasn't that bad because as a landlord, that's a foundation to all your investments. You know what I mean? The home flippers, they got hosed, the builders got hosed. I lost some money, but it is what it is. And then during, what was it? And right before COVID, right? They all the lenders stopped lending.
Yeah.
So again, it's like it can be a complete halt. I had deals that were pending, and I'm like, where am I gonna get the money now? I think I get a hard money loan. They weren't lending. Nobody was lending. Everybody took their lines back because all these hard money lenders, they don't lend their fucking money. It's all Wall Street money anyway. They're just tacking on their 1 point, and they're tacking on an extra percent or whatever the case may be. So right before COVID, I know everything dried up real quick for a few weeks. So again, going back to like where the market's heading, to me, it's like, all right, well, it's all fine and dandy until the fucking credit dries up. So as long as the banks are lending, the market will keep moving. I mean, the money circulates through the economy. But if the banks say, hey, listen, we're out of luck. No one's sitting on $500,000 in the bank account to go buy houses tomorrow morning. So that's just the kind of way I look at the markets. Like, really got to watch what the banks are doing. And if they're lending and they're going to keep lending, who knows with the mortgages. Once that dries up, the whole market dries up, so.
What's your best market and why?
Huh?
What's your favorite market that you're in right now?
My favorite market? I like all my markets. I wasn't going to invest in it. But to me, it's again, the section of low-income housing, right? Because the way I look at it is, let's say there's a recession, something happens in the market. People go into foreclosure. What do? They move into A-class, B-class apartments, right? And then what are the B-class? Well, B-class like, oh shit, I can't afford this rent anymore. I'm gonna move down to a C-class apartment. And then the C-class apartment's like, well, I can't afford this rent. I'm gonna move down to D-class, right? So I'm in a D-class market, and I'm like, all right, everybody's coming to me. So, and to me, it's like, well, the last resort after me is homelessness. Because if you can't afford, a D-class apartment or mobile home, well, here's a tenant. You know what I mean? So that's
Move to California.
Yeah, out to California. There's like the iPhones and
Get a tiny home from Home Depot.
Huh?
You get a tiny home from Home Depot.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna be a big trend, man. That's why we got the mobile home park, because, you know, I could buy a brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $35,000. You know, perfect, you know what I mean? And I got people living in there with like 650, 700 credit score. And they work full-time jobs. I'm like, okay, sounds good. You know, so I was like, it's definitely a niche that I'm like, oh shit, you know, I go for Italian, right? So you usually have, you know, a marble statue pisting in the front. Marble countertops and granite counts, like, who lives in this fucking building? People live in it, man. I'm like, wow, okay, it sounds good to me. You know? So you guys see that tiny home and RV and these young people traveling and shit, you know, across the country.
The ADUs, like.
ADUs, yeah, you know, she sheds turned into apartment. I was down in Key West, fucking unbelievable, man. I was like, we're buying a 6-unit building down there. And, it's unbelievable. It was a she shed. I'm not even joking. It's like 180 square feet, maybe smaller. $650,000 in the back of someone's house. That's what they were asking. I was like, that's insane, dude. 180 square feet.
Key West?
Huh?
Is it Key West?
Key West.
Was it on the water?
Huh?
Was it on the
Yeah, it's like a block away from the beach, block and a half away from the beach.
Location, right there.
Someone was under contract. Like, amazing.
If you put one in the back here, it ain't gonna be 650.
Yeah. But yeah, I saw those Home Depot things are like $35,000. You put like a 2-story house up. Yeah, I was like, sounds like a plan to me. You know. But yeah, that's definitely going to be a big thing, especially with the younger generation, I think. You know, because they guys come out of school with debt, $100,000 in student loans. You know, you have student loans?
No.
Lucky you.
I did.
Still.
I went to good school. Well, he went to a better school.
Yeah, I don't understand.
But I had to pay that.
And you know, they come out of student loans, they can't afford to buy a house, so you're gonna start seeing a lot. I think that's gonna be more commonplace.
Yeah,
Tiny
I've seen a lot in Manhattan where, like, you know, a lot of these like tech professionals, like, you know, they all make 6 figures, they're all good, but the rents are astronomical for like a lot of these newer places and whatnot. Like, I've seen 2 or 3 people living in like a fucking studio together.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
That's crazy.
and you know, like, but granted now it's, let's say $3,000 a month, it's $1,000 each, but they, you know, they all like figure it out.
Yeah, it's like immigrants that come to the United States, you know, like 3 brothers and 3 wives live in a 3-bedroom. You know?
Yeah, no, because it's like, you know, one of those things like, yeah, I just don't go, you know, like I don't chill at home often. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, New York City, you're always out, like you're always out here meeting other people, you're doing
Yeah,
this.
that's true.
Yeah, they're always partying in the town.
Yeah, parties. John hasn't had any parties yet, so.
I know.
He doesn't want to
That's
hang
why
out.
I'm so salty.
I'm sleeping by 8 p.m. John was, I'll be laid on the park bench. Where's Mel?
I don't even like get out of my house till 10.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm like these guys.
Yeah, I'm knocked out at 9 o'clock, so forget it.
Well, maybe not 9, but.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna see a lot of even like the micro apartments I'm seeing, like they're building a lot of these micro apartments, which are like, what, maybe 600 square feet, maybe smaller. It's like you walk in, galley kitchen, right to your right, you walk in, and then you have a bathroom, and then.
Oh no, I've legit thought about this for my apartment, because like, you know, I won't say the amount here, because like, you know, just people, but like I like my living room is big enough that I could like cut into make another bedroom.
Wow.
Then like where my you know, where my dining table is and everything, I could probably
Make another bedroom.
Make another
Dude,
bedroom.
if I were you, I'd be renting the fucking shit out of that place.
If his apartment was in Chinatown, it'd be like an 8 bedroom.
Like you mean, it could still be an 8 bedroom right now.
No, I'm saying if it was.
Yeah, I'm at Port Authority.
Dude, how did you find a fucking apartment for that price, man? Find me one. Shit. That's not renting out rooms and shit.
Oh no, like my landlord's awesome. We just like, as long as you still live there and you're like, no one's bothering me, we're good.
Really?
Like,
Wow,
yeah.
That's awesome. Shit, how'd you find that apartment, online or?
Yeah, so my ex, she was like looking for apartments for us, and I told her straight up, like, you know, originally I wanted to do Airbnb, so I needed like at least 3 bedrooms, and one of the bedrooms ours, whatever, and then the other 2 I can rent out. So I went and looked at a lot of these like 3 bedrooms, and most of them were shit. Like they, like, you know, they're fully renovated, they're nice,
Yeah.
but the 3-bedroom is like half this fucking room.
Yeah.
Like, and that includes the bed, that includes the bathroom, the kitchen, like everything. It's maybe like half this room.
Wow.
But then I went to this place, and okay, the floors are kind of like old, like school vibe, because like they're terrible, like
VCT.
yeah.
Okay.
And then so I was like, okay, I can just put carpet, I can hide it.
Yeah.
Back in the kitchen, it's those old kitchen cabinets. Like I'll offer my services, shoot my shot, see what he says.
Yeah.
It was a no, but
You want to let you change the cabinets?
well, no, I could change them,
Oh,
but why would I change them for a apartment that I'm renting?
Yeah.
And then
$3,500. I don't plan on moving ever in that fucking apartment.
yeah, but yeah, now we're on month to month, so I don't like I'm not I'm not looking to like one day just text me like, hey.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that's why I'm not trying to
Yeah.
change shit. And then the bathroom was fully renovated 2 years ago.
Wow.
And then so then the other 2 bedrooms that my like Max and I live in. So.
Yeah, so you want to do Airbnb, so what happened with that? Because now.
Oh yeah, sorry, I totally forgot what my train of thought. But yeah, so then
New York has very strict laws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was putting it on Airbnb, then it like notified the housing authority review or whatever. Yeah, because like it said by law they had to.
Wow.
Or whatever. And then that's when around the time they changed it from it has to be 30 days. Because I was like, who stays in New York for over 30 over 30 days is a vacation. Like
A lot of people do.
Well,
Yeah.
it works. Yeah, it just didn't work because the thing is that a lot of people list their apartments 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times all on Airbnb.
What do you mean?
Like it'll be the same listing
listed
on Airbnb like 8 or 9 times.
Okay.
So then, because it's Airbnb is extremely saturated in New York City.
Okay.
So like even if you list it, your listing is pretty much like on the bottom.
Okay.
Like, even if they push it up as much as they could, well like they're looking at all these other listings as well, and they're all competitively priced. It's pretty much the same thing.
Oh wow.
So I just said, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna rent it by the room.
Yeah.
And like I rented one of the bedrooms extremely quickly. So I found out that
They were too cheap.
But yeah, so then now I rented the rent. That late that chick moved. Like she was only there for like 8 months. But then found another person like immediately.
Wow. Yeah, of course. Right.
But then now I found out that like the fair market rent for a bedroom, like even in like a this situation, is around 1,900, 2,000 easy all day. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the apartments in the building for rent.
He actually does. I actually brought it. I actually brought it up to him. Like I actually brought it up to him that I wanted to rent out the whole building.
Yeah.
But like he just kind of like ignored me.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I don't get ignored, so I want to be with him. It's funny because I have a property in Newark. It's a single family. I paid $55,000. I made it to 6 bedrooms. The lady was paying me $1,800 Section 8 back at she's been there for years. And I'm like, you know what? Let me try Airbnb. Dude, I get $69 a night per bedroom, and I get a lot of vacationers, people from Spain, Colombia. They come into Italy. They come into Manhattan for a month. So they're paying me $1,000, $1,200 per bedroom. I was like, this property's making me $5,000 to $7,000 a month. And this is freaking the best thing ever. So I was like, when you live in Manhattan, if you charge $99 and like $3,000 a month.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the issue. Like most of them, like at least because of saturation, like it took like 3 months before I started actually getting like serious bookings like that were long.
Okay.
So I mean, at that time, I really needed the money.
Exactly.
So
I understand. Yeah, I was like, man, if it's working in Newark, I was like, people are making a killing in Manhattan, man. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. Like he was okay with me testing it out for that unit, but then then eventually he kind of like changed his mind as well.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think they probably called him too.
Oh really?
Owner.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure he would have probably had to pay some sort of
Yeah, seriously, man.
So-
Crazy. Unbelievable.
So like, he doesn't mind me renting it by the room on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
But like, yeah,
Sounds good. He's cool with that, man. That's perfect. You can't beat that, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, with Airbnb, it's a great, another model. Again, like, I think saturation is a big factor into, investing in different markets, and then, knowing how to manage it also. So you guys have, that's the only Airbnb you have?
no, the Airbnb.
Under that account,
For
when we had the.
Well, yeah, for New York, it was only that one
Okay,
account.
because I think if you had, like, if you tagged along with like a super host or something, you might have ranked up higher into the Airbnbs or whatever, so.
Yeah, I just also didn't want to deal with New York City because they had to come, they had to come in and they had to look at like the apartment and.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
it's
Wow.
super regulated.
Really? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and like there's certain standards, like I believe we hit most of them, but I just didn't want
Yeah.
to like,
Hey, listen, if you get, for a month, still a home run, can't beat that. Make it
Yeah,
better.
it's less BS.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you still doing your whole pet count?
like a back on, I'm actually gonna be, like I just did some renovations to it and I'm gonna sell it soon.
Okay.
Yeah, because like a back on started doing a lot of regulations as well.
Yeah.
And because,
Oh, really? Yeah?
and because the neighbors all hate me apparently at this point, because I had terrible property management there, they, like, yeah, I have a bad rep with like with the town for people going there to party and.
Well, you're on the lake, then you want to do is party. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even with like, Airbnb, you have to have, again, like screening your tenants, you have to screen who you're renting to. Like we do minimum 27 years of age. We don't get like 18, 19-year-olds there. It has to be, and then we ask specifically if they have previous reviews and they're all good, then we'll, they take instant book. But if they don't, then we ask like a series of questions, how many guests are coming, how old are the guests, why are you visiting, where are you visiting from? Especially in Newark, right? Because if I tell them, hey, I'm from Belleville, I'm coming to Newark. Yeah, you're looking for a fucking party, you know what I mean? Or if you're from Newark, you're looking to come to Newark, I'm like, so if
My
you
mom's
screen,
taking me out.
yeah, exactly. But if you screen them properly, then you shouldn't have any issues with Airbnb either. But again, once in a while, you might have a hiccup here and there. But again, back to the screening, right? So you got to do things the right way, and it works out well. I definitely want to talk to your landlord. I want partners with you. Let's go.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. Yeah, man. How long we got? Done? Perfect.
Alright, with that, guys, that's a
That's
wrap. So, this is the Newbie Real Estate Investor Podcast. We're here with Carmelo Oliveri, obviously my co-host Joey Chan, and Ricky Kolek. Thank you.
Awesome, guys.
Yeah. Next week, tune in next week. We're gonna do this probably over in Short Hills.
Okay.
Yeah. So everybody's welcome to come. Well, it's not
Party in Short Hills.
Yeah, we're having fun.
We'll send the Addy later.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Later.
Good show, good show.